Namaste, all the viewers. Welcome to this yet another group session of 5th Global Festival of Oneness. I will start with a Shanti part, a Guru Vandana, followed by a couple of verses constructed by Adi Shankaracharya and his Paratpar Guru, Bhagavadpadacharya. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shlokardhena Pravakshyami Yaduktam Grantha Kotibhi Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha King Jyotistava Bhanumana Anime Ratrau Pradipadikam Syadevam Ravi Padarshana Vidhau King Jyotirakhyahime Chakshustasya Nimilanadi Samaye Kintirtyo Darshane Kintatrahamato Bhavan Paramakam Jyotisadasmi Prabho Na nirodhor na chotpattir na baddho na cha sadhakaha na mumukshur na vai mukta ityesha paramarthata yasya vedamayi vani yasya devamayi tanu yasya brahmamayi drushti saguru patumam sada saguru patumam sada saguru patumam sada. This is the second in the series lectures by Subramanian Chidambaram. Subramanian Chidambaram, commonly referred to as Subbu, hails from family of Samavedic scholars in Puthukode village in Palakkad district of Kerala. He is an electrical engineer by qualification and a postgraduate in management from IIM Lucknow. He has got 15 plus years of experience in management consultancy and industry and is currently working as a director of strategy for a leading MNC in India. He has published operations and strategy case studies, articles in leading national and international journals, and delivered lectures at IIM Lucknow, Noida, and IIM Indore and VJTI Mumbai. He is MA in Sanskrit, specialization in Vedanta, and diploma in manuscriptology, both from the University of Mumbai, where he has also been visiting faculty of Vedanta, Itihas, Puranas, and Bhakti. He has formally studied Vedas chanting for 8 years. He is currently pursuing his doctoral thesis in Indic perspectives for modern leadership from Chinmay Vishwa Vidyapith. He has several papers and articles to his credit, published in various national and international journals, as well as presentation in various conferences and seminars. Subbu hails from a family of music connoisseurs on his maternal side. He was initiated into Carnatic music by his mother, Mrs. Bhagyam, a trained Carnatic singer herself and a direct cousin of Vidwan M.A. K. Bhagavata. He started his formal training at the age of 13 under Vidushi Srimati Vijaya Vishwanath until her demise in 2006. He then came under the tutelage of Sangeeta Kala Acharya Vidushi Sri A. Mani, under whom he has been learning for last 15 plus years. Subbu has been giving many lecture demonstrations and Sangeet Upanyasams, that is musical storytelling, combining his interest and skills of music and Indic knowledge. Subbu has also been hosting the channel on YouTube called Subbu's Corner that comprises various kinds of sessions aimed at increasing awareness of our great Indic traditions and knowledge. Over to you, Subbuji.
Namaste, Sanjeevji. Thanks for that wonderful introduction. Namaste to all. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavadpadacharya Lokashankaram अज्ञानान्तर्गहनपतितान् आत्मविद्योपदेशैः त्रातुं लोकान् भवदवशिकात् आपपापच्यमानान् उक्त्वा मौनं वडविडपिनोः मूलतो निष्पतन्ति शम्भोर्मूर्तिश्चरति भुवने शङ्कराचार्यरूपम्. Namaste to all and a good evening to all. So this is the second part of the series on Adi Shankaracharya and the traditions of Kerala. Last week, we looked at the relationship between Acharya and the Vedic tradition, the Tantric tradition, and the theistic tradition of Kerala. Today, we are going to be specifically looking at the Vedantic tradition of Kerala, which is like the home ground of the Acharya, and what is really the relationship between the Acharya and the Shankara Parampara and the Vedantic tradition in Kerala. In the last week's lecture, we had spoken about the Vedic tradition of Kerala and the Karmakanda Bhaga. When you look at the Vedic corpus, the Veda Rashi, it comprises of two major parts. One is called the Karmakanda and the second is called the Jnanakanda. The Karmakanda portion, which is primarily related with the karma or the ritual part of the Vedas, was something that was predominantly there in Kerala Pradesha. When the Acharya's advent or avatarana was happening, that was the time, and even today, if you look at the Karmakanda Bhaga of Vedas, Kerala is one of the foremost places where it is still preserved. And this is what we mentioned even last time, that many of the Vedic yajnas and yagas like the Soma Yaga or Atiratra, etc., are still being performed by the Nambudris in Kerala. It's one of the very rare places within Bharatavarsha where it is still being performed. So the Vedic tradition, especially the Karmakanda Bhaga, the Mimamsa tradition, has been upheld in Kerala for a very long period of time. And during the Acharya's time, that was definitely at its peak. It was definitely the fertile ground of Karmakanda or Karma Mimamsa that was there during the time of the Acharya. So the Vedantic tradition of Kerala, when you say, we really need to think as to what was really the Vedantic tradition in Kerala before the time of the Acharya. Now, when you look at the typical Guru Parampara, especially the Advaita Vedanta Parampara, you start from Narayanam, Padma Bhuvam, Vasishtam, Shaktim, Chatatputra Parasharam, Vyasam, Shukam, Gaudapadam, Mahantam, Govinda, Yogindra, Sadasya Shishyam. So from Narayana up to Govinda, from Narayana up to Shuka, we already know this is the Pita Putra Parampara, right? It is a Pitru Parampara, Pitru Putra Parampara. From Shuka onwards, it becomes the Guru Shishya Parampara. Now, when you look at all these acharyas, especially from Gaudapada onwards, because until then they have been, legendary figures or legendary personalities. When you look at from Gaudapada onwards, Gaudapadacharya, from all the references that we get, has been more or less present in the central or the northern part of the country. Govinda Bhagavadpada was also there somewhere in the central part of the country when Acharya went to meet him. So none of them have really been in this Pradesha of Kerala before that. Even the Acharyas, the Advaita Acharyas before Shankara, when you look at it, other than these Acharyas, you also have many Acharyas who are named in the Bhashyas of Bhagavadpada, Ramanujacharya, etc. You find the references to various other Vedantic Acharyas like Dramidacharya, Sundara Pandya. You find these references and many more Acharyas you find references to. These Acharyas also you find some of them coming probably from the modern day Tamil Nadu. Some of these Acharyas coming from there. But you do not find too many, you don't find authoritative references of any of these Acharyas having come from Kerala Pradesha. So all this leads us to believe that there was probably no major Vedantic parampara or tradition that existed in Kerala before the advent of the Acharya. Now, when you look at the Madhaviya Shankara Vijayam, when it speaks about the various, the Balya Avastha or the Balya Sthiti of Acharya, that he learned different subjects in the Gurukula, what it mentions is he learned various subjects. So he's in this shloka from the Madhaviya Shankara Vijayam, you find that he has learned the Anvikshaki, he finds he has learned the Tantra, he finds he has learned the Kapile, the Sankhya Yoga, he finds he has learned the Patanjala Shastra, which is the Yoga Shastra, Bhatta Khatartha Tattvam, he has learned the Mimamsa, but it says, Yattaihi Saukyam Tadasya Antarabhavat Amaladvaita Vidya Sukhesmin Kupe Yo Artaha Satirthe Supayasi Vidate Antana Antarbhavet Kim. He says, the Digvijayakara says, Amaladvaita Vidya Sukhesmin, though he learnt all the various Shastras and subjects, the Acharya's mind got completely immersed in the supreme science of Advaita Vidya. Amaladvaita, Amala, the pure Advaita Vidya is where his entire heart and mind and entire being got attracted to and got completely immersed in. So which means that even in the Gurukula Vasa, even as a part of his education, Upanishads or Vedanta Vidya, Vedanta Shastra was being taught as a part of the Gurukula itself, as a part, because definitely when you look at the Chaturdasha Vidyasthana or Ashtadasha Vidyasthana, you definitely have it part of the Vedas itself. Upanishads coming as a part of the Vedas. So it's very much possible that this was being taught as a Shastra during the time of the Acharya also in the Gurukulas. This was definitely being taught as a subject. But we do not know whether it was being interpreted in what way were the Upanishads being interpreted, the Vedanta Shastra was being interpreted. That is something that we do not have reference to, because if the Advaita Parampara or the Vedanta Parampara was so strong and you had living teachers who were the Anubhutimans, who were experiencing that Advaita Sukha, then Acharya wouldn't have had to travel all the way from Kaladi to Narmada Tira in search of Govinda Bhagavadpada. So which means that though Vedanta Shastra or the Advaita Shastra did exist as a Shastra, but the predominance at that point of time was definitely towards the Karma Kanda, was definitely towards the Vedic rituals. And even in the Madhaviya Shankara Vijayam, we find that even after the Gurukula Vasa, the Samavartana, when the Acharya comes back home, he was still performing the Vedic rituals as prescribed. That means the adherence to Vedic rituals, the Nitya Karmas, the Anushtanas were very high, especially in the society in Kerala, which existed at that point of time. So this must have been just a Shastra that existed at that point of time and not as a living parampara that existed during the time of the Acharya. And that is what necessitated the Acharya to really travel miles together from the southern part of the country to the central part of the country, to on the banks of Narmada in search of Govinda Bhagavadpada. And Govinda Bhagavadpada also, him going in search of Govinda Bhagavadpada also means that the number of Advaita Acharyas even in Bharatavarsha would have been very virala, would have been very rare, would have been very few. So that is why he travels all the way, literally covering half of the country in search of Govinda Bhagavadpada in terms of, for the Advaita interpretation, for the Advaita Shastra of Vedanta. Though he knows Vedanta, we cannot make an inference that Acharya learned Vedanta Shastra or learned the Upanishads from Govinda Bhagavadpada. He knew what the Upanishads were because he was doing Manana, Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana was happening. After the Samavartana of the Acharya, when you look at the Madhaviya Shankara Vijaya also, for nearly a year or maybe a few months at least, Acharya spent his time at home in Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, in contemplating on the Vedic, on doing Swadhyaya of all the Upanishadic Shastras and contemplating on those Mahavakyas and those truths and continuously meditating on those. That means the Acharya knew that there is something beyond. There's this Upanishad Shastra that is being presented here has got something else that it wants to tell. Right? So that for that opening, for that grace, and for that interpretation of the Advaita Shastra, and for blessing of that is where he travels to Narmada Tira to Govinda Bhagavadpada. So we can very safely say that before the time of the Acharya, the Vedantic tradition of Kerala would not have existed as a live parampara. So it was the Acharya who definitely started the, and definitely when you look at the overall Advaita parampara itself, he was the one who continued it from Govinda Bhagavadpada, though multiple Shishya paramparas also existed of Gaudapadacharya. Beyond Govinda Bhagavadpada, Gaudapadacharya also had other Shishyas, and some of those mathas are still existing in Bharatavarsha. Govinda Bhagavadpada would have had many other Shishyas, because we are told that even as Acharya moved from Narmada Tira to Kashi, a huge Shishya parampara, a huge Shishya retinue of Shishyas accompanied the Acharya, and Acharya was the youngest in that lot. All Shishyas of Govinda Bhagavadpada accompanied Acharya, Shankara, to Kashi, and Acharya was the youngest among them. That means they were all very senior Shishyas or disciples of Govinda Bhagavadpada. So those Shishya paramparas were there, but Acharya was literally the crest jewel among the Shishya paramparas. Now coming to the other aspect. So Acharya's life, we all know the entire advent of the Acharya and the Vedanta Dindima that he spread across Bharatavarsha and beyond. Now the Antardhana of the Acharya, that is the giving away of the mortal body or the physical body and attaining Samadhi, Mahasamadhi. The popular version that we find in the Shankara Vijayas, etc., is that he disappeared in the Kedara Kshetra. All the Shishyas accompanied, the 4 Shishyas at least accompanied him to Kedara Kshetra, and then he walked across in the Himalayas and there he disappeared. So this is the popular version that we know about. But there is one Shankara Vijaya called as the Keraliya Shankara Vijaya, also called as Shankaracharya Charitam, written by one Govindanatha, which actually mentions about, and this is the Kerala version, or this is the belief in Kerala, that the Acharya attained Mahasamadhi in the premises of the Vadakunnathan temple, the temple which was responsible for the birth of the Acharya. Last time we saw about it, that the temple where Shivaguru and Aryamba did bhajanam for nearly a mandala, and as a result of the prayers of which Shiva himself was born as Shankara, that temple, the premises of that temple itself is what it is believed that the Mahasamadhi of the Acharya happened. And even today, if you go to the temple, in the premises of the temple, you have a place which is indicated, which is marked, which is built around the Samadhi, and there are 2 symbols of a Shankha and Chakra, and it is written that this is the Samadhi of Adi Shankara Bhagavadpada. It is also interesting how the Shankha Chakra is mentioned, is given as a symbol of on the Samadhi Kshetra of Adi Shankara Bhagavadpada. These are Vaishnava symbols, and this probably more correlates with my lecture on Shankara the Vaishnava, which some of you or those who are interested can go and watch on the YouTube. So this Shankara Vijayam, the Keraliya Shankara Vijayam that was there, when you look at especially the Antardhana section, or the section where it speaks about the demise or the Mahasamadhi of the Acharya, it speaks about the fact, it gives exact details of how the Acharya went into the Kshetra. It gives the physical, geographical details of the temple. Like for example, it says, Kasare Paschime Snatva Natva Tatratyam Ishwaram Shri Moolasthanam Asadya Chakre Tasya Pradakshinam. The Shri Moolasthanam Asadya Chakre, he does a Pradakshina of the Shri Moolasthana. Now, for those who are conversant with the Vadakunnathan temple or the natives of Thrissur would know that the Shri Moolasthanam is the place where originally the linga of Vadakunnathan or Shiva, the Swayambhu linga, is said to have manifested. Today, a big banyan tree stands in that place. It is right in the front of the temple. So it was shifted later. It was relocated. The lingam was relocated from the place which is called a Shri Moolasthana even today. It is mentioned as Shri Moolasthana and a lamp is lit there every evening. The linga was shifted a few meters into the temple premises and placed there, and the temple was built around that. So the original place of the linga is called a Shri Moolasthana. So here it says Shri Moolasthana Masatya. So during the time of the Acharya, probably the temple had just manifested. The linga had just manifested a few years before. So he goes around the Shri Moolasthana, and the term Shri Moolasthana is very important because that is a very specific term used for that place where the linga manifested in Thrissur. So the natives only know about the place of Shri Moolasthana. So all this points to the fact, and scholars have opined that Govindanatha was a native of Kerala, of Thrissur especially. And that is why this Kerala Shankara Vijayam is also important, because this is the only Shankara Vijayam written by a native of Kerala. All the other Shankara Vijayas are written by people other than outside of Kerala. So though Acharya took birth in Kerala, the only documented Shankara Vijaya of anybody from Kerala has been the Kerala Shankara Vijayam. And in this Kerala Shankara Vijayam is where you find the speciality of the Acharya taking Antardhana in the. So he speaks about that the Acharya does the production of the Shri Moolasthana, and then he goes into the premises. There is a Krishna temple. He visits the Krishna temple. Then there is a Vrishabha right in the entrance of the temple. There's a huge Vrishabha or Nandi. He does the Namaskara to the Nandi, and then he goes inside and he looks at Simhodara and multiple other shrines that can be very well said only by a native of Kerala, is all mentioned here. And then Govindanatha says, and then he attains. He sits there in samadhi, in complete absorption into the self, and at the end he attains Mahasamadhi within the premises of the Vadakunnathan temple. So this entire episode, or this entire excerpt comes from the Shankaracharya Charitam, or the Kerala Shankara Vijaya. Now related to this is the fact that after the demise of the Acharya, or after the Mahasamadhi of the Acharya, it is said that during this time of the Mahasamadhi, all the 4 Shishyas of the Acharya were present during the Mahasamadhi of the Acharya in the Vadakunnathan temple. And the then king of Kerala, who probably was one of the Chera Perumals, because the Perumals of the Chera dynasty were the ones who were ruling Kerala at that point of time. So one of the Chera Perumals, who is also identified as one Rajashekara. The name of Rajashekara comes in the Madhaviya Shankara Vijaya as the one who was ruling Kerala during the time of the Acharya's avatarana. He was the one who built the temple of Vadakunnathan, and he is also said to have shown his dramas that he had written to the Acharya and got his consent and got his opinion on that. So the Rajashekara was there, and the 4 Shishyas, and along with so many other people, were present at the time of the Mahasamadhi. After that, it is said that Rajashekara requested the 4 Shishyas to establish 4 mathas in Thrissur itself for the propagation of Vedas and Sanatana Dharma. So these 4 mathas were established in Thrissur. As you can see in this map, this is the place. On the rightmost, topmost corner is the place of the Vadakunnathan temple, which is called as a Thekankad Maidanam today. It is a huge ground at the central part of Thrissur city. But when you look at these mathams, they are a bit away from there, and they are placed in linear fashion, very close to the temple of Vadakunnathan. So these 4 mathas would have probably, the question is, what is the need for 4 mathas? Right? It is such a small city. Probably even 1 matha would have been sufficient to say that just 1 matha is established for the propagation of Sanatana Dharma. So probably some certain things that could have inspired the formation of these 4 mathas is being a replica of the 4 Amnaya mathas, which were already established by then. If the Acharya had already established those 4 Amnaya mathas, the north, south, east, and west, a replication of those 4 mathas in Thrissur in the memory or remembrance of the Acharya would have been one request that would have come from the king, Rajashekara, to say, let us, like the Amnaya Mathas, let 4 Mathas be established. And these 4 Amnaya Mathas were adorned by the 4 Prathama Shishyas of the Acharya. Similarly, Rajashekara asked the same Shishyas to adorn these 4 Mathas also, 1 Matha per Shishya. That is how you have these 4 Mathas. Now, because when you look at the Amnaya Mathas or the main Mathas, the Shankara Mathas, they are across the 4 directions of the country. That is why you have the Purvamnaya, Paschimamnaya, Uttaramnaya, and Dakshinamnaya, the 4 corners. But Trishur is, Kerala itself is an elongated state. It's a linear piece of land. And Trishur is also a linear piece of land within that. So here, the question is not about north, south, east, and west. The question is more longitudinal, right? It's more linear fashion. So it becomes north, which is called Vadakke Matam. Vadakku means north. Then you have Idayil, then you have the Naduvil Matam, which is the central part, and Tekke Matam, which is the south. And since the north, south, and the middle part is covered, the 4th Mata is given as an intermediate between the Vadakke Matam and the Naduvil Matam. It is called as Idayil Matam. Idayil Matam is in between. So in between the Vadakke Matam and the Naduvil Matam is another Matam, which is called as Idayil Matam. So these are the 4 Matas that got established. 4 Shankara Matas that got established not by the Acharya, but by the Shishyas of the Acharya at the behest, at the request of the then king, Rajashekara. So that is one thing that we must remember clearly, that the Amnaya Mathas were established by the Acharya, while these 4 Mathas were established by the Shishyas of the Acharya. So as you can see from the table, so you had Idayil Matam represent or in which Astamalaka Acharya was positioned, Naduvil Matam established by Sureshwaracharya, Vadakke Matam by Totaka-acharya, and Tekke Matam by Padmapadacharya. And similarly, like the Amnayas, Vedas are associated with the Amnaya Matas, similarly the same Vedas are associated with these Matas as well. But because the Amnaya Matas are huge and they have the Devata or they have the Tirtha and all of these things, here you don't have Devata, Tirtha and all, because for all of them the Devata is Vadakunnathan. The main Devata is Vadakunnathan. The Tirtha is the Tirtha Kshetra or the Tirtha of the Vadakunnathan temple itself. But you have Upasana Murtis, the Murtis that have to be done Upasana by the successors of that Matha, which is Rama, Parthasarathi, Dakshinamurti, and Narasimha. These are the Upasana Murtis. So thus gets established the 4 Shankara Mathas. This is the beginning of the Shankara Parampara in Kerala, and we can very well say this is the beginning of the Vedanta Parampara, because Shankaracharya, we very well said just now that the Adi Shankara Bhagavadpada was the beginning of the Vedanta Parampara in Kerala. And between Adi Shankara Bhagavadpada's time and during his lifetime, we do not see any more Acharyas, any more independent, Anubhutimans or Advaita Acharyas who emerged on the scene of Kerala. So until the time of Acharya, Acharya was only there, and after the time of the Acharya, these 4 Mathas got established. So very much we can very conclusively say that these 4 Mathas were responsible for the Vedanta Parampara and the Shankara Vedanta Parampara and Advaita Vedanta Parampara, the beginning of that in Kerala. These 4 Mathas were responsible. Now let us look at some details of these Mathams. Now, as I said, these 4 Shishyas were placed in these 4 Mathas, but those Shishyas were already having responsibilities of adorning the Amnaya Mathas and running those Amnaya Mathas and propagating Sanatana Dharma in those Mathas. So what they did is they handed this over to Nambudiri Brahmanas from Kerala, from Trishur itself. They handed over the Mathadipatyam, the head of the Matha, to those to Nambudiri Brahmanas who were selected from the well-learned Nambudiri Brahmanas. To them it was handed over, and thus started the Shankara Parampara. So the head of the Shankara Mathas in Kerala are called Mupil Swamiyars. Mupil Swamiyars means the head Swamiyar, the chief Swamiyar. They are called as Swamiyar, and the Mathams are called as Swamiyar Mathams. So because they selected from the society, looking at the the parampara, looking at the lineage and everything, all the successors of these Mathas are typically Nambudiri Brahmanas, not necessarily Brahmacharis, but Grihasthas. Grihasthas who have successfully done the prescribed duties of a Grihastha as per the Vedika Dharma, who have followed the Vedika Dharma, who have performed the necessarily anushtanas, yajna yagas, and lived the life of the grihastha as prescribed by the Vedas, and their families and their lineages have also been Shrotriyas. They have been Shrauta families, they have been the Vaidika Paramparas. Such families and such people are selected, and a grihastha is one who is selected to adorn the Swamiyar Matha. So a lot of those, activities or events that happen before or the initiation ceremony, the sannyasa initiation ceremony itself is very different for these Swamiyars because they are a grihastha who are going into sannyasa. So you have specified rituals and rites that have to be performed when a grihastha is moving into sannyasa ashrama. So you can see some of the YouTube videos are there when recently Tekke Madam, there was a new Swamiyar Avarodhanam. So it is called as Avarodhanam. So Avarodhanam means somebody who's placed on the seat, who is adorned. The new Swamiyar adorns the seat as the head Swamiyar. So it is called as Avarodhanam. So there is a new Swamiyar Avarodhanam that happened, I think, a few years back, and those videos are available on YouTube. So you can see the explanation given by them. Some of those rites and rituals are also videotaped and videographed. You can see those as well. So this is how the Shankara Parampara began. Now let us look at the impact that this Shankara Parampara has had on the history of Kerala. So all these four mathas existed in Thrissur itself. So as we said, these are all found in Thrissur itself. Now what happened is, if you look at the political history of Kerala, Kerala has been primarily ruled by three major kingdoms. One has been the northern part of Kerala has been primarily ruled by the Samudri. Okay, it is called as a Samudri Raja. The central part, which primarily their headquarters was in Calicut, the modern day Calicut. The second, or the middle part of Kerala was ruled by the Cochin Raja, the Raja of Kochi. And the bottom part or the below part was where the Travancore dynasty was primarily ruling. So these were the three major dynasties that ruled Kerala over a period of time. So the Brahma Kshatra Bandha is a very interesting thing, that in olden days, the Rajas, the kings, would always want a great sannyasi, a great yativarya, a great Mahatma to always be there in their court as an advisor, as a mentor, as a guru, as a purohita. So earlier they were purohitas, later on as a guru, as a Rajaguru. Because Vidyaranya, as you all know, was the Rajaguru for Harihara and Bukka and establishment of the Vijayanagara Empire. Samartha Ramdas was the guru for Shivaji Maharaj for establishment of the Maratha Empire. So always the Kshatra or the Kshatriya Bala or the kings have wanted the grace and the presence of Mahatmas and the Brahma Bala, the great Brahmajnanis, to be there. So Shankara Parampara is the foremost of them. So at this point of time, all the Shankaracharyas are staying in Thrissur itself, which falls under the Raja of Kochi. So over a period of time, there would have been desires of the other kings also to have these Mahatmas settle in their or have presence in their kingdom so that they can grace their kingdom and also provide guidance. So with respect to that is what we find that the Naduvil Matham also was invited to have a presence in the Travancore dynasty, in the Travancore kingdom. So the Naduvil Matham, and the story behind that is very interesting. The story behind that says that the Naduvil Matham, which was adorned by Sureshwaracharya, he handed this over to one Nambudiri Brahmana called as Divakara Sharma. This Divakara Sharma in the Purvashrama, his Purvashrama name, is also known as Divakara Muni. After sannyasa, he came to be called as Vilvamangalam Swamiyar. Now, Vilvamangalam Swamiyar is actually, it is a referent name. We still don't know what his Pattanama was, the name given when the sannyasa diksha is given, what his name was during that time. Vilvamangalam is actually the name of the place from where he hails. The house in Kerala, you will find the Nambudris having the name of their houses or the mana they call. So Vilvamangalam is the name of the house or the place from where he comes, which belongs to, there are two Vilvamangalam houses, one which belongs to Shukapuram village and one which belongs to the Panniyur village. Both of them were Vedic Gramams, one of the 64 villages which were formed by Parashurama. So this Vilvamangalam Swamiyar is said to have belonged to the Shukapuram village. So he's called as Vilvamangalam Swamiyar or Vilvamangalatha Swamiyar or just Vilvamangalam. And many people believe there have been many Vilvamangalam Swamiyars, multiple Vilvamangalam Swamiyars over a period of time. Whatever be the case, that is a name by which he is referred to. His true Patta Nama we don't know. But in his Purvashrama, he was called as Divakara Sharma or Divakara Muni. Now this Vilvamangalam Swamiyar is said to have been worshipping Lord Ananta Padmanabha in Kasaragod. Kasaragod is in the northern part of Kerala. He is said to have been worshipping Ananta Padmanabha there. When one day the Lord appeared as a child and started assisting Vilvamangalam Swamiyar in all his pujas. So Vilvamangalam Swamiyar was pleasantly surprised and he took the boy along and the boy was helping him across. One day the boy started, the boy was a kid, he started doing a lot of naughtiness. He was extremely naughty that day and he started creating a lot of havoc. Very angered by the entire, the place and the naughtiness of the child. The Divakara Muni is said to have admonished the child and even threw him out and said that just go away, don't come here. At that time it is said that the child just vanished right in front of Divakara Muni, which is when he realized that this is no ordinary child, it must have been the Lord himself. And then he heard a heavenly voice that said that now if you have to come to meet me, you have to come to a place called Anantangad, the forest of Ananta. You need to come to meet me. But there was no such place called Anantangad that Divakara Sharma or Vilvamangalam Swamiyar knew about or he had heard about. So he starts traversing the entire Kerala and comes down south. When he overhears a mother talking to the child, saying that if you don't eat your food, I will throw you or I will send you to the Anantangad and then you will be eaten by all the monsters there. So he understands and so he inquires about it and he finds that it is a dense forest in the southern part of where the modern day Padmanabha Swami temple is. Near that entire area was completely infested with forest, but it was a completely forested area. So he goes to that place and he prays, he meditates on Ananta Padmanabha, the form of Ananta Padmanabha. And then it is said that the Lord manifested himself as the reclining Vishnu, the form that you see, the reclining Vishnu form. He actually, it seems, it's said that manifested in such a way that it covered an entire huge form of the Lord. But because that was not comprehensible, one person could not see the entire form. At the behest of Divakara Muni, the Lord condensed himself into a form that could be seen. And that is the origin of the Ananta Padmanabha Swami temple in Kerala that you find today. The Vigraha is not the same one. The Vigraha that you find today is the one that was made by one of the Rajas. If my guess is not wrong, I think it was done by Martandavarma. Raja Martandavarma was the one who got the Vigraha of the modern day, what you see today of Ananta Padmanabha Swami, made out of 12,008 shalagramas that were brought from the Gandaki Nadi, which is a separately different topic and lecture to have a discussion on. However, so the Ananta Padmanabha, the manifestation of Padmanabha Swami happened because of Vilvamangalam Swamiyar and Divakara Muni. That is why in later times, or even during that time when the Travancore dynasty would have existed or the Rajas would have existed at that point of time, they said that the right to do puja to Ananta Padmanabha should belong only to the successors of Vilvamangalam Swamiyar. And because he belonged to the Naduvil Matham Swamiyars had the right to perform Archana or Pushpanjali. You call it Pushpanjali in Kerala, which is about Anjali means performing the puja or Archana through pushpas or flowers. So the Pushpanjali is the exclusive right of the Naduvil Matham Swamiyar. So the Naduvil Matham Swamiyar, he stays for a few months in the Travancore kingdom, where he is given a separate place to say he has his own pujas, everything to be kept. And he is the one who daily comes to the Padmanabha Swami temple and performs Pushpanjali. Hence, he is also called as Pushpanjali Swamiyar. There. that is an exclusive right for the Naduvil Madam Swamiyars. So one base of Naduvil Madam shifted into Travancore dynasty. So the Naduvil Madam Swamiyars keep shuttling between Thrissur and Travancore. So this is the first establishment of a presence of a Swamiyar, of a Mahatma in the Sannyasi in the Travancore dynasty. Now the second one was the Vadakke Madam. Now Vadakke Madam, the then Swamiyar of the Vadakke Madam was a Brahmana from Tulunadu. Tulunadu is the coastal part of Karnataka. He hailed from Tulunadu. He was a Tulu Brahmana. Due to some strifes or some misunderstanding or some conflicts that existed at that point of time, probably the non-acceptance of a Tulu Brahmana by the Nambudiri communities or some other issues that existed, the then Mupil Swamiyar of the Vadakke Madam decided that he is not going to appoint his successor anymore, and the parampara is going to get terminated with him. There are going to be no more Mupil Swamiyars of the Vadakke Madam that are going to exist. He is not going to nominate any more successors. And he decided to go. He decided to leave Thrissur and move towards Kashi and just stay in Kashi till the end of his life. So what he did, whatever assets the Madam had in terms of the place and everything, was converted into a Vedic school. And this was called as a Brahmaswam Madam, which we spoke about last time, which is one of the chief institutions for the propagation of Vedic learning and tradition in Kerala. So that Brahmaswam Madam was formed from the assets of the Vadakke Madam. So Vadakke Madam got converted into Brahmaswam Madam and it became a Vedic school of learning. And the Swamiyar left Vadakke Madam and he started moving towards north on his way to Kashi. En route, he is said to have camped in the district of Kasargod, modern day Kasargod, which is in the northern part, which you can see the northern dot that you see. When he stayed there for a few days and performed his Chaturmasya Vrata or some other for time he stayed there, the local people requested the Acharya, so Swamiyar, to stay there permanently, because they said that they will take care of the Swamiyar and all his needs. And they said that please establish, we want your presence and your successors to keep blessing us and grace us. So you need to establish yourself here. So the Swamiyar thus got established. He established the Matham there called as Edanir Matham. So the Edanir Matham that you see today in Kasargod is actually an offshoot of the Vadakke Matham that went from Thrissur to Kasargod. So the Vadakke Matham has got converted to the Brahmaswam Matham as a Vedic center of learning. It is no more a Swamiyar Matham, but it exists as Edanir Matham in Kasargod today. So this is the second of the Mathas. And Edanir Matham is very close. Kasargod, the northern part of Kerala, is very close to Dakshina Karnataka. So Edanir Matham even today, and because the Swamiyar was himself a Tulu Brahmana, the Acharyas or the Swamiyars of this Mathas are typically Tulu Brahmanas, are typically Brahmanas selected from Tulunadu. They are called as Shivalli Brahmins or Shivalli Brahmanas. So they are selected from that community, and that is how those Brahmanas or those Swamiyars are. So this is the second of the Mathas. So this Matha ceases to exist as a Swamiyar Matham in its original form. Third was the Idayil Matham. Now Idayil Matham, what happened was, as I said, the kings were really wanting Swamiyars to come and stay with them. Especially there was a lot of battle going on between the Raja of Kochi and the Raja of Calicut, the Samudri Raja and the Raja of Cochin. There were constant battles between them, and Thrissur more or less comes in the boundary of these two kingdoms. So probably Thrissur would have been, the recipient of many such, adverse effects of these battles. And the Samudri Raja wanted one Matha to be established in his kingdom. Now you could ask that he already had the Edanir Matham. Probably because we don't know the exact timings of these Mathas. So probably at that point of time when the Raja wanted, the Edanir Matham had not been formed at that point of time. So he still wanted a Swamiyar Matham to be there in his kingdom. And that is why he requests the Swamiyar of Idayil Matham to shift his base completely from Thrissur to a place called Thirkaikkad. The place called Thirkaikkad, which is in which existed in the kingdom of Samudri Raja. So the Swamiyar completely shifts base from Thrissur to Thirukkaikadu, and the Raja just wanted to ensure that the Swamiyar will not return back to Thrissur again. So the assets of the Idayal Matham in Thrissur were given to Thekke Madam. All those assets were given to Thekke Madam, and so Thekke Madam took those assets also, and together it became Thekke Madam. So the assets that it had before and the assets that came from the Idayal Matham both constituted Thekke Madam, the modern day Thekke Madam. So Idayal Matham completely shifted into Thirukkaikadu. Now what happened is, the fourth of the Mathams, which is Thekke Madam, so that Madam still exists as a Swamiyar Matham in Thrissur. So the two Mathams that still exist as Swamiyar Mathams are the Naduvil Matham, which has got a branch in Travancore, but it still exists in Thrissur as well. The main place is still Thrissur, and Thekke Madam, which exists purely in Thrissur. And this is the Madam that I was saying that a new Swamiyar has got, a successor has been adorned, and over the last few years. Now, Thekke Madam Swamiyar is the Pushpanjali Swamiyar for the Vadakunnathan temple. So he is the exclusive right for doing Pushpanjali to the Vadakunnathan, to Lord Shiva in Vadakunnathan temple. He has got the exclusive rights. He is the Pushpanjali Swamiyar there. Now, what happened is, with the later invasions, the Islamic invasions especially, the Thirukkaikadu Matham faced a lot of invasions, faced a lot of troubles and challenges during that period of time, and even the functioning of the Matha became a challenge, became a problem. So during that period of time, the Thekke Madam Swamiyar, the Idayal Matham Swamiyar shifted base or moved with his Rama, with his Upasana Murti Rama. He said to have traveled by foot many miles, and he was given refuge in the Travancore dynasty, which was more a safer place. And it had got a huge defense, military and everything, so they could protect the kingdom from invasions. So he was given a place in the Travancore kingdom, and that is called as Munchira Matha. So he was given a place in the place called Munchira. He was given a place to stay and perform his anushtanas and everything. So the offshoots of the Idayal Matham is the Munchira Matha. Now, because the Swamiyar was there, the king also felt that it is only right that because that Swamiyar also comes from the Shankara Parampara, he also needs to be given the right to do Pushpanjali. So the Pushpanjali to Padmanabha Swami happens by both the Swamiyars. Maybe they alternate. One day it is done by the Naduvil Madam Swamiyar and one day by the Munchira Madam Swamiyar, but both of the Swamiyars are Pushpanjali Swamiyars. So originally the right only existed with the Naduvil Madam, but with the coming of the Munchira Madam, both of the Mathams share the responsibility in doing the Pushpanjali to Ananta Padmanabha Swami. But later on, when the Islamic invasions eased out and everything, the Madam continued. The Madam got re-established in Thirukkaikadu. So the Thirukkaikadu Madam also is existing today, along with the Munchira Madam. So both these Madams are existing today as an offshoot of or as branches of the Idayal Matham, originally in Thrissur. So this is what I wanted to illustrate. Now, a few other aspects that I would like to say. As you saw, the entire worship of Padmanabha Swami, the temple of Padmanabha Swami, completely the different puja paddhatis, everything is done by is guided by the Naduvil Madam Swamiyar. And the Naduvil Madam Swamiyar is given the position or the respect of a Tantri. Now in Kerala temples, when you look at it, there are two aspects. One is the Tantri and one is the male Shanti. The Tantri is the one who decides the tantric rituals for the temple, right? He doesn't do the daily puja. He is like a mentor and a guide, and he comes for the main tantric rituals of the temple. He comes and he performs them. So the Tantri is like the father of the deity, in the Garbhagriha. Tantri is the father because he is the one who does the prana pratishtha, the consecration, everything is done by the Tantri. So Tantri is like the father. The male Shanti who does the daily puja of the Vigraha is like the mother. So this is the correlation that you find, or this is the aspect that you find in the Kerala temples. So the Tantri is like the father. So that is the respect, or that is the position which the Pushpanjali Swamiyar or the Naduvil Madam Swamiyar enjoys in the Padmanabha Swami temple. So you find that even in the theistic or the religious history of Thrissur or Kerala, you find many temples that are associated with the Shankara Parampara. Not just this, Vilvamangalam Swamiyar is associated with many temples in Kerala. Vilvamangalam Swamiyar is very closely associated with the Guruvayur temple. Guruvayur temple, he is said to have been a great, as I said, a great devotee of Krishna. So he was a regular visitor at the Guruvayur temple. The then king of Guruvayur, or the Kochi Raja, he was called as Guruvayur also has been under the Zamorin, the Samudri, or the Kochi Raja at different points of time. But the then king, Manavedan, who was ruling that part of Kerala, and who was Guruvayur was under him, he was a great devotee of the Lord of Guruvayur. So he had an intense desire to see the Lord, to have the grace of the Lord, to see the Lord in person, or have a vision of the Lord. So Vilvamangalam Swamiyar was his guru. So Vilvamangalam Swamiyar, one day, he blesses, through the grace of Vilvamangalam Swamiyar, Manavedan Maharaja he gets a vision of a child, of a Balakrishna. He gets the vision of Balakrishna wearing the Mail Pili and everything. And by the time he is able to go near he gets a vision, but he wants to cuddle the kid and everything. By the time that happens, the kid disappears. The Lord Krishna disappears. And what is left behind, what he is left in his hand is the peacock feather, the Mail Pili, or the peacock feather that is worn by the Lord. That is what he has in his hand. So he realizes that this is not any delusion, and really the Lord came and he has given the Mail Pili or the peacock feather as a prasada. It is this peacock feather that still adorns. It is this Manavedan Raja who wrote the Krishnanatam dance form. The Krishnanatam dance form was first conceptualized, and a 6 or 7 part play, which is the traditional dance form or the theatre form of Kerala. It is from Krishnanatam that later on Ramanatam, and now the Kathakali that you find. Kathakali is one of the authentic or the traditional forms of Kerala. That Kathakali originated from Krishnanatam. Krishnanatam was a predecessor of the modern day Kathakali. Krishnanatam, it's like a 6 part play. It's like a theatre drama. It's like a drama form or a theatre form of Kerala, which is performed exclusively in the temple of Guruvayur. Because Manavedan Maharaja was the one who introduced this art form, this drama form. And it is on the life of Krishna, right? From the birth of Krishna till his Vargarohanam, till the demise of Krishna. It is conceptualized as a 6 or 7 parts play, in which the main character that performs the role of Krishna, the headgear or the kirita that character wears, that kiritam has the Mail Pili that Manavedan Maharaja got. That is adorned, that still adorns the kirita or the crown of that character of Krishna. So those of you who visit Guruvayur must make it a point to visit the palace. So it is placed in the palace of the Manavedan Maharaja. All these attires are placed, and the kirita of Krishna is placed, the one who plays Krishna, and the Mail Pili still adorns that kirita. So it is by the grace of Vilvamangalam Swamiyar that he gets the anugraha of Krishna. Vilvamangalam Swamiyar is also associated with the Chotanikara temple. He is associated with Vadakunathan temple, of course, and many such temples in Kerala is associated with the Vilvamangalam Swamiyar. So we find that the Shankara Parampara, the Vedantic tradition even till today has been from the Shankara Parampara. Later on, many Vedantic Acharyas, Advaita Acharyas have emerged in Kerala, like Narayana Guru, Shatambi Swamigal. Many such people have emerged on the face of Kerala, Swami Chinmayananda in later times. So, though so many great Acharyas have come in later times, the fertile ground was laid by Adi Shankara Bhagavadpada and then carried on by the Shankara Matha Parampara of the Acharya that was there in Kerala. And they have not just been responsible for the Vedantic tradition, they have also been responsible for the religious tradition and the temple traditions of Kerala. And there has been a lot of associations that this parampara has been having. So these were some of the points that I wish to share with all of you. I hope all of you found this useful. Namaskaram. Thank you.
Thank you, Subhuji, for giving us an illustrious examples of political, philosophical, and religious lineage of current traditions in Kerala to Bhagavadpad Adi Shankaracharya. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Viewers, as per Indian Standard Time, tomorrow morning, there is yet another session on Bhagavadpadacharya, Life and Legacy of Adi Shankaracharya by Vidwan Manikandan Iyer. Please join us. And thanks for this. I will close the session by a prayer. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om Tat Sat.